So here we go, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Kings of Anglia Fan Social, the show where the KOA Army share their thoughts on all things Town. And well, ladies and gentlemen, Town, what a game on Sky! Hip hip, hooray! And all that sort of stuff. What a night it was under lights at Portman Road as Town beat Derby 1-0. And of course, this is the main show on Monday, as the flagship show is not until later in the week because the boys are not about. But we're going to bring you a great fan social to get you ready for the week ahead. Hope you will enjoy this pods ready for the week / your trip to Port Vale if you're going. I'm joined by three fine gentlemen in Bainesy, George and Peachy as we break down the win against Derby and look ahead to Port Vale. Of course, a trip to Vale Park for the first time since 2000, I think it was, before, of course, we won promotion to the Premier League. Enough of me, though, chatting. Let's bring in the boys that are joining me this week. We've got Bainesy first up, who, well, everyone always praised me on my beard, but look at this, fine gentleman. If you're watching on video, you can see, bloody hell, Bainesy. It's a beast of a beard. How are you, my friend?
Very good, very good. Yeah, channeling my inner Bilikowski / Milo Jedinak. That's a bit of an older reference, I guess. Jedinak retirement a little while ago, but yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, the beard's a funny one. I don't quite know where it's going to stop. I feel like if I shave off now, this is the longest it's ever been. My work we've got no kind of dress code or policy, so I can literally keep it for as long as I want. So I think my rule is until Mrs. B tells me it's time to go, then we'll keep it going. So we'll see. Perhaps I have to get some more pictures on Twitter to kind of document the growth. But yeah, good week this week. I think obviously news at the start of the week, Ed Sheeran another year, which is fantastic news. A global megastar of his kind of fame is so good to have him associated with Town, and it's great that they were so keen to announce it early. They didn't wait till what you normally expect, kind of Feb, March kind of time. They might start to mention it. I think it was last year they did that. I might be wrong, but yeah, just fantastic to have him on board again. And then obviously turn to Friday night. I did manage to briefly catch a bit of the Mark Ashton interview. So Talk Sport were at Portman Road. Mark Ashton talking to Andy Goldstein and obviously man former Liz Parish, Darren Bent. Again, I'm not surprised because obviously I've never heard him do a bad interview, but the way he speaks again is just effortless. He's just such a top operator, and I just think imagine that the takeover didn't happen, and imagine that was Lee O'Neill sat there, and I imagine it would have been a lot more awkward. But he was just he had all his points. He was just really articulate, talking about the fantastic black away kit. I think he said they'd sold 30,000 tickets, 30,000 shirts. It just smashed all records ever. And there was obviously there's the pre-orders to come with the new shirts. He talked about the controversy of the black kit as well. As a traditionalist, it wasn't quite for me. I hate to be a stickler. I did write to the club just because I think sometimes if it's really bugging you, then it's worth saying, because I feel like the club are more responsive now, and I'd like to think he read it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but either way. But yeah, for me, it's tradition is tradition. You don't change that for a one-off game on Sky. But it worked, and we won on Sky, and it was fantastic. Yeah, really good performance. Good, ground out the 3 points if we want to be in the top two, kind of towards the real business end of the season, as they say. Those are the games you have to win. Start was a bit frantic and a bit back and forth. Our kind of passes in the final third were very, very poor.
Bainesy, can I stop you there? We want to break it down more in depth with the other boys as well. So I don't want you to get too carried away. Great point so far, but I want to bring George and Peachy in, because at the moment they're just sort of having a nice little just just chilling, watching us
So you need
talk
to
about.
chip in. This is where you
Oi.
need to be like,
I
"Oi,
know,
shit,
but I'm a
right,
polite
bam."
young man. Everyone knows this. I'm polite. I don't like to ever interrupt people, but I just thought he's going somewhere. He's going down a tunnel where we're not joining him. But always good points. And as I said, beautiful, beautiful beard. Watch on video if you watch listening on audio because it's beautiful beard. But let's bring in George. George, my friend, always good to see you. How are you? And
Very
don't
good.
talk as much as Baines is at the start.
No worries. I sort of forgot I was on a podcast then. I was just watching you two. I felt like I was, eating my dinner, just watching you, and I was, I'm on this thing, yeah. No, very excellent points, by the way. So yeah, I wouldn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, do you know what? I really enjoyed it. Again, being on Sky, all the worries were going around, and thanks to Sky, I missed a Portman Road game for the first time in about 10 years. And had to settle for watching the game in a hotel in Birmingham. And the Brummies just completely confused as to why I'm sat there in an Ipswich top watching it. But and what that screaming was, when Jackson took it around the keeper, and but I enjoyed the game. Football's a game of opinions. I sort of disagree with the third kit. I like it. I think it's in with the trend of modern football. Listen, I don't want it to happen every week, but I enjoyed the sort of one-off occasion. It looked a really good spectacle. It's a gorgeous kit, and if it was a third kit that was rubbish, like Man City's one that they had where it's got their name written across it, and yeah. But I think it helps. It's a really nice kit, which might have swayed my opinion. But no, do you know what? It's a shame I couldn't experience the atmosphere, but seeing it on Sky and getting a sort of different perspective, it looked like a great time. But as far as the game went, I enjoyed it. We'll break it down a bit, but fully deserved to win. So onwards and upwards.
Indeed, my friend. Indeed, my friend. Well, Peachy, you've been there, sitting there very nice and patiently. It's been thunder, storms, lightning, rain this weekend. How are you, my friend?
I am very well. I'm happy to be joining you three fine gentlemen this evening to record this. But first, I've had a message from my legal people. I need to issue an apology. So, dear Mr. Heath, in the last few game days, I've referenced Derby County as being your team, as in Mark Heath's Derby County, which is very wrong of me. I must apologise, knowing that you've now lived in Suffolk for nearly 30 years. So you must have moved down here when you were very, very young. So now I apologise again. It is now Mark Heath's Ipswich Town and right, on to Friday night. Yeah, it was a brilliant game. Brilliant game. Well, say brilliant for us because we won. Not the most, I'll say for a neutral, not the greatest game. The atmosphere I thought was 10 times better than the Lincoln game. But as we know, Portman Road under the lights always brings out a special atmosphere. As we've been talking about the kit, I'll give my opinion. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like the black kit. I will be ordering it. But for me, when you're at home, you wear blue. That's how modern football is going, because I believe that Morecambe, they played in their away kit on Saturday and they were at home to Barnsley. I'm not sure what that was about. But yeah, I'm ready to chew the fat over Friday's game.
Right then, let's bring it on. Let's not muck about. Bainesy, bring you back in. You are allowed to talk again. I just thought we needed to bring the other boys in, get the conversation flowing. And we've got a lot to talk about. Of course, we've got a lot of things to cover as well later on the show. Of course, the strike and also Port Vale. Looking into that, our first visit there for a long time. But Bainesy, I want to start off with the team, the lineup. There's always a debate on what's Kieran McKenna going to do this week, this night, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he went for pace, didn't he? Jackson, John Jules starting. What was your thoughts on, the first 11?
I don't normally waffle. I'm normally really succinct with these. So sincerest apologies to game day listeners or to listeners of the pod if you had to listen to me go on. But anyway, yeah. I like Jackson. I really like him. I think, it's basically him and Danassian who have been kind of tarnished by the Paul Hurst era. But, Jackson always works hard. And I think when you've got a back line that has what was they saying? I think it was a combined age of 90 or something. They're going to tie it. It's going to happen. First half didn't quite come off. Second half, he just kept going and going and going, and that's what you need. It's the same as the Cambridge game. You know, it took a while for them to break down, and we're patient. And I think the second half we're much more in control. Again, Jackson's work rate, that's where the goal came from. He literally saw that the pass was going a little slower, snuck onto it. He missed it, but it was a really tight angle, and it was, you know, he was drifting further out. I think he was leaning slightly to the side as well. Hit the post. Wes Burns, you know, Marcus Harness is like calm composure, bang, slots it in, and then I think, yeah, exactly. It was just great. It was like time kind of slowed down for a second, and then I don't think it was really in doubt. I can't remember them having much in the second half, but apart from those last couple of minutes where I always feel a bit nervy, it was. I think he was done by like 80 minutes. I can't remember. Anything. So. Yeah, great to grind out the 3 points. Yeah, as I said before, we have to win those games if we want to be in the top two. And I think that's what really we have to start doing now, building this momentum towards Christmas. Was that more succinct?
No, it's good, Bainesy. I liked it. It was good. Going to segue over to you now, George. Baines covered the team news. What was your thoughts on the team news and just the first half as a whole? Because it was a bumper crowd, 28 plus thousand live on Sky. All the cameras about. It was a good atmosphere, but you just never know what's going to happen in the first half. And team news.
You don't, and I've sort of learned to just go with the flow with McKenna. I think he's the first manager really that I've looked at a team sheet and don't really think about it. You know, because I with him that there's a reason why he's done it. In the past, we've seen Paul Lambert or Paul Cook. They've made irrational changes really, and you don't. It was rotation for rotation's sake. Whereas, whenever you see Jackson in the lineup now, at the end of the day, McKenna likes Jackson, so I do. That's the way I'm looking at it. And that his lineups have got a game plan, so I don't really look too much into them as much as I would have done in the past. Obviously, there are individual players who I do think are out of form and do need to be dropped. Just not completely. I think Marcus Harness is one of them. I'll talk about him later. And Burns, I know he scored the goal, but I was really advocating for him to have a break out of the team. And I thought prior to this game, considering he's got a World Cup place at his disposal, he's been miles off it. Miles, and if we're honest, he's been miles off it all season. I don't know if that's because he's had a really good year last year and he's not quite got up to it, or if he is just, settling into the level that he probably is. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of the lineup, I don't read too much into it. I trust McKenna and what he wants to do. And I thought the game plan worked, to be honest. I thought he obviously wanted to utilise the pace. I thought we'd done that, got into some great areas, but just didn't quite have that cutting edge. And, that's been a sort of running theme over the last couple of games, and you're worrying the history is going to repeat itself. But as it goes, we managed to do it.
We did indeed. Peachy, you were there under lights at Porton Road. We spoke before the game. Thank you very much for looking after my stall. Little peek behind the curtain. He had to look after my stall, so I left it with him on Tuesday night because I couldn't be asked to travel back with it. But enough of that. I'm just talking about nonsense now. But Peachy, just the first half, Derby, it's an opportunity to take on a Paul Warne side. That's not Rotherham, it's Derby County. And I thought, as you said in your intro, it wasn't, a great spectacle in terms of League One football. I'm sure a lot of people who probably don't watch League One football were watching it on Friday night because it was on Friday. But yeah, not the greatest first half, but it was what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a bitty first half, to be honest. But for once, normally we like to fly up the traps, don't we, and take it to teams. But to be fair to Derby, the first 5 minutes, it was pretty much all of them. But then once we got settled, and I can't really remember any. I think Wes Burns sort of missed a header. I think it was Leo that's crossed it in. If he'd have got a glance on it, it might have got in. But I can't really think of any chances for either side. First half, and you could tell a Paul Warne side, they're very organised defensively. And I think a lot of teams now, especially the last few games, have been targeting our right-hand side with Donatian and Burns. And even when Chapman's been playing there, or was it John Jules sort of in that role, or Harness, they kept rotating. So that's something we've got to sort of get past, if that makes sense. We're starting using our left side a lot more, but I personally thought that the defence had a real good game. You know, like I say, can you remember Walton really making a save? I mean, I remember a cross coming in and him punching it away. But other than that, I thought we defended really, really well, to be honest. Leif Davis, you can see why we paid nearly £1 million for that lad. He is class. He's, without sounding arrogant, like a few in our team, he's too good for League One. So we need to get the Championship ASAP because clubs will eventually come swooping, shall we say.
Peter, just going back on that opening 5 minutes you're talking about, don't you think that is completely setting the tone for all of our games recently? You can sort of, from the Lincoln game, I thought, you know, we started that game really slow, and I worry, and again they've proven me wrong because they got the goal in the 70th, whatever it was, but I worry that when we haven't killed a team off in 10 minutes, it seems like it's going to be a bit of a long afternoon.
Yeah, I must admit, I think Morecambe away was the same, but I think we all turn up at Morecambe and think, oh, we're going to steamroller these, but Morecambe come out, got on our faces, and we didn't. I think it's more teams have noticed that and they're targeting that now. Like you say, Lincoln game was a slow start, and the problem with Lincoln game was they got the goal, and then to be fair to Lincoln, they were defended brilliantly. So
they were excellent, yeah. Yeah,
and it could be a concern, but like you said, with the team losing McKenna, you just know he's going to. He watches so much football. He will sort that. I feel Port Vale away, we will get an early goal.
I think the good thing is as well, no matter what sort of tactics he's got in mind, whether he wants to go in behind or whatever, we have got the options to change the complete dynamic of the team with Freddie Ladapo on the bench. That changed everything, and that's, you know, he tried to do that. I think it was Accrington, wasn't it? And he tried to play, you know, with the wingers in behind or whatever, and you know, Ladapo comes on and changes the game completely. So I don't worry necessarily with the lineup because I think worst case scenario we've got a 45 minutes with a completely different dynamic to sort something out.
Of course, 5 subs helped, doesn't it? 5 subs helped a lot. Helped a lot in this season.
That will honestly be one of the big reasons why we will go up this year.
I agree. I mean, Derby, their side, like Paul Warren said, I think, what was it? It was a mix of like Dad's Army and a creche or something. He's got like people like, you know, the real kind of 35, 36 knock-ins of their career, right back to what's the name of the defender? Cashin. I was really impressed by him.
Yes.
If they don't go up this season, he is long gone. I think because the first half was so like back and forth, I kind of completely missed it. And then I think it was like in the kind of half time they mentioned him, and I watched him afterwards. I was like, this kid is absolute class. You can see he's going to be a Premier League player in a few years, no doubt, because just so intelligent, the way he was reading the game, cutting out passes. And they mentioned at half time or in the second half, I can't remember when it was, he's got that vision, like that De Bruyne vision, where he can just like see in his mind, like, this is where I want the ball to go. And his vision is just exceptional. So I was very impressed with him. I think if I'd take one player off that team, it'd be him. I think he's different gravy. If Wolfenden were to move on, if they didn't stay up, if they did manage to keep him somehow, well, he didn't go up and they did manage to keep him, then I'd 100% be looking at him. And then the only other thing I was going to say is obviously the signing of Kamara on deadline day looks a very, very, very good one. Unfortunately, with Lee Evans going down, it doesn't sound good. I guess we'll have to wait and see how long, how bad that is. But it doesn't sound good, does it?
No, looking at McKenna's interview after the game, they sort of mentioned it. And he was very downbeat. I think he knows it could be quite serious. I think it could be a couple of months. I hope it isn't, because Lee Evans has been fantastic, and it showed how much we missed him towards the end of last year. Because I think it was against Cambridge at home, like we were starting to struggle a bit, and Lee Evans was starting the bench that day. Brought him on, he was spraying passes everywhere and just cutting them open again. But just get you back to Cashin. Sorry to go back. he played like a veteran defender. I think good old Mark Beck said, like, he was just everywhere. As soon as the ball come in, boom, he's there. He was, I'll say, cutting out every single pass, reading the game really well. Like I say,
it's a Derby County podcast now. We're praising other teams' players.
Yes,
I'm
well,
joking.
sorry.
I was impressed by him as well.
Is he theirs as well, or is he on loan?
I think he is theirs. I think. Bear with me.
Here's a weird sliding doors moment. Obviously, Lee Evans. I think when you slow that kind of stamp down, if he'd have gone off, he wouldn't have been injured. So then you can't tell. Obviously, the way the result, that would have been a very different game if he'd gone off. But I think he was very lucky. And I think, look, we can't talk about the ref too much, but it was not great, is it? I mean, as per.
Yeah.
So, I think sorry if any shadowy figures watch this and I get fined by the EFL, but yeah, not great.
I think Ross has got a backlog of my EFL referee videos that I'd have to private if they got released, to be honest.
Yes, good points, but not for air, pretty much. Anyway, just to clarify, Cashin is a Derby County player. He came through their youth academy, so I'm sure they're pretty happy on how they've developed him. George, over to you to talk about and praise Town players. And you wanted to talk about Marcus Harness. Take it away.
Well, I wanted to talk about Marcus Harness in a bit of a negative light. So I'll talk about the good ones first.
Okay.
Caden Jackson, I've mentioned him before. Listen, he's not everyone. I can't believe there was a time in the Championship where he was our starting number 9 and we relied on him for all the goals to keep us in a division. However, you can't fault his work rate. I thought it was good on Friday. Obviously made the goal. He should have scored it himself. But I thought he played well. I thought the back line, I thought Derby County were poor, if I'm honest. But I thought they kept solid. And I think Wolfenden deserves a bit of credit, really. I think he's sort of turned into the sort of new Lee Evans, because Lee Evans has started to get the credit that he deserves when he was perhaps the unsung hero. And I think Wolfenden sort of is becoming that now. Just, going back to the Lincoln game last week, he played in the half by himself as that sort of sweeping defender. He's almost like, to use a rugby analogy, a bit of a sort of he's a fullback. He's got the whole back half of the pitch to himself and he's just having to cover for everyone. And I think, he's kept his head really well. And I thought, again, on Friday, he was, solid. And Evans, I mean, that is just, let's hope it's a short-term thing, because that would be a huge loss. I've got him down so far as my player of the season, to be honest. I think I can't think off the top of my head. Oh, it's Cambridge the game. He came on and he just changed the game completely. He's added a lot more to his game, I think, as well from last year. I think McKenna's made him a better player. I think he spots a pass better. He's not as lazy with his passing. There was a time where he'd just sort of hook a ball over the top and hope for the best. Whereas now there seems to be vision. There's, and he makes his mark on a game, and he had done on Friday night, and he was carrying on in that vein. And if Morsey wasn't the captain and you had to drop one of them out of the team, it was almost looking as if Morsey would be the one. And that's a huge, obviously, compliment to Evans, because Morsey's phenomenal. I love Sam Morsey. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think you could go through the whole team and compliment them all individually. As I say, Marcus Harness, for me, he needs to do more. But while we're in a positive mood, yeah, I'll say they all looked good against I have to say, a really poor Derby team. Just jumping ahead to Paul Warren's comments after the game, he said it was 2 good sides. I think he's looking through some really, well, I know he's a Norwich City fan, but I think he's looking through some really Derby tinted glasses, because they are not a good team. They are a very, very average team. And it was like looking at sort of Paul Cook's team from last year. You sign all the players, you make all the right noises, but ultimately you're a bang average team with players that some of them haven't made it at their own club. And I thought they were poor. I really did. But credit to us, we got the job done. You can only beat what's in front of you. And they stood up to the atmosphere well and, got the win.
Indeed. We'll continue talking about Derby, but we'll try to segue into some other stuff as well. But Peachy, Baines, I'll let you finish off as well. Let's talk about the goal as well. We haven't really spoke much about it. I know we talked about it on passing, because it wasn't the most unbelievable goal, but it's a goal that had to be worked for. Of course, Wes Burns scoring an empty net, but you always have to be composed in that position because some players used to just whack it and go, you miss. But Wes Burns, Peachy, he was composed and finished well.
Yeah, I think when you see the highlights back, it's Marcus Harness going, well, you got time. But I've been, because obviously I sit behind in this upper Sir Bobby. It's like time just stood still. Really did. But you have to say again, credit Jackson for getting that chance. And he said he should have scored. And like you see Wes Burns didn't go off the game, he said, I was in that position because I was ready to celebrate with Jacko when he scored. But it just came back to him, he composed himself, bang, straight in. But I'm away from the goal. I also think John Jules needs a little bit of a praise as well, leading the line. Because one thing I noticed with him, when the ball comes to him, he backs the defender straight away. Not found, sort of, this is my space. And brings the ball down, then he brings others into play. It's sort of like, how can I put it, a weaker Ladapo role, if that makes sense. Because Ladapo's more, muscly. I'm going to jump in at people. John Jules is in at my feet. Yeah. And quick on Marcus Harness, I couldn't fault his work rate. I was about to say Friday night. I thought people say he gives the ball away a lot. He does, but he is still getting used to the way we play, I think, as well, because he's come from a different style of play from under Cowley at Portsmouth into like McKenna ball. It's going to take time, but he's scoring goals. And yeah, I'll put up to you, Baines. What do you think?
Yeah, I think controversially to what I said before, I think the ref does deserve a shout out for going to the linesman for the penalty. Obviously, we can what happened on Tuesday was awful, very snap. You shouldn't do that as a referee that early in a game if you're not sure. His view was heavily obscured as well, but fair play to him. He went over, he consulted with the linesman, and he gave it. And just unfortunate from Jackson, but he did a good thing, and then he did a bad thing of not realising that the goalkeeper was like 2 foot off his line. But you can't have it all, I guess. But yeah, I think as soon as Burns got the ball, it's like there is that kind of nagging thing in your back head. It's like, he's going to sky this, isn't he? Or it's going to go wide or something. Years of being beaten up as an Ipswich fan. But yeah, fair play to him, got some composure. And as I said before, I think after that, I can't even really remember Derby doing much. I might be wrong, and I might be looking at it through Ipswich, tinted glasses, but I can't remember it, at all. But yeah, big Fred as well. I love that guy. I think he's fantastic, and I think he's another kind of unsung hero, and he does a lot of good hold up play, bringing other people in. Yes, he hasn't got the goals that perhaps you would have expected, but I think he still plays a massive part of this team. And I think if you look at it from a formation perspective, reverse to the defense. The defense is fluid. It can be 3, it can be 4. It's the front, 3, and then whoever's up front. It's all interchanging. It doesn't matter who scores or who gets on the end of it. It's all interchanging. So yeah, I love Big Fred. I think he's fantastic, and yeah, I think he'll be very valuable as the season comes on.
Could I just say quickly, sorry, just going back to the penalty, isn't it nice to see a linesman make a decision as well? I won't go too much into the referees, but there's been a couple of times Ross has got his head in his hands. No, don't worry, it's not bad. No, it's nice to see a linesman make a decision, because usually they do wait for the referee, and that's not an EFL problem. That's a football problem. And he was the best place to see the penalty, and he made the decision. So credit where it's due. And yeah, as you say, Wildsmith was closer to the penalty spot than his own goal. But you know what? And do you know what wound me up this morning? I was on Twitter, as I always am, and one of my suggested things was like Derby County, because they were sort of the topic. And it was Derby admin saying another great penalty save from Joe Wildsmith. Come on, another great penalty save. He might as well have gone and booted the ball off the penalty spot anyway. And he just fell on top of it. So I'm not having that. But you know what? Fair play to Jackson. And like McKenna said in his post-match interview, he bombed it up the other end and was defending in that kind of right wing back role after missing it. So, credit to him, and credit to him for taking it, because I don't envy anyone taking it in front of 28,000 people when live on Sky, when the game is probably in the balance at that point. So You know.
Yeah, because the other penalty takers were off at that point because Chaplin was an unused sub and Lee Evans was subbed off at that point. So it's like I was wondering actually who's going to take this. You'd think maybe Wes Burns because he's already got a goal. Maybe he would step up, but Jackson because he's a striker, he stood up and I missed. But it is what it is.
I fancied left foot to sort of whip that top. But you know,
yeah, it's a good shout. But yeah, I think it's as you said in front of a massive crowd who's got the kahoonies to take it, and Jackson was the man.
Yeah.
I've got 2 more nuggets to talk about, boys, from the game. First nugget is Christian Walton's very nice orange goalkeeping kit. That's the first time we saw that. That looked very nice when he took off his. And by the way, who thinks like pre-match jackets are pointless?
Pointless, yeah.
Yeah, like I know it's for show and all that, but
I think Derby looks a bit tin pot. Like it was the first time I saw the kit, I was like, oh, that kit looks really dull and boring. It looks like they've it doesn't look right without a sponsor. I think it just adds to the occasion.
It looked like a women's
when you've got good bench wear it. Yeah. If like Derby, you were probably scrabbling around trying to keep your club, alive and off life support, then bench wear is probably the last thing you're going to be thinking about. But yeah, I just thought it looked odd. Either both teams don't wear it, or I don't know.
Their home kit does look like their training stuff, actually, doesn't it? That away kit, it does just look like training wear.
My favourite colour though. I did like the colour because it's my favourite colour, but we don't need to go into that. There was flames as well. There was flames. Once again, when it's a big occasion, they bring out the flames. So that was another thing.
There's always flames on the pitch on here when Ipswich are playing. You should know that way.
Definitely.
It all adds to the atmosphere, in my opinion, and to gets the crowd even more. Even just a bit of fire going up. It all adds to the occasion.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the jackets. So I was like, really?
No. The jackets, wear them when it's winter and you're walking out and it's like 1 degree. They're not, that's fine. But
still going to take them off, though, aren't you?
Yeah,
going to take them off.
That's true.
I'm sorry. Just my feeling on it because it's just you just watch them wear them and you just see. I think it's James Pullen, the kit man. He just has to then go and just grab them all. It's like, but anyway. I'm just going too much into it. I'm maybe too passionate than I need to be because it's just a thing. But the final thing to just quickly mention before we move on, boys. Any other notes from you guys before I say the final thing?
Just to clarify my Marcus Harness comment. Again, I honestly don't fault his work rate, and I take the point that he's adapted to the team. But is he, Carl Edwards is in form, Is he as direct as Carl Edwards? Would I back him to beat a man over Carl? Probably not. But as the guys have said, he scores goals, and maybe I am just being hypercritical because ultimately he's in the team for a reason, and I wish him the best of luck. He's got lovely eyes, hasn't he, Ross?
Yes.
And and up with eyes like that, you deserve the world. So good luck to him.
I think it just shows, as we've said so many times before, the options in the squad we have, how we can mix it up. Like people who weren't even in the squad Friday. You got Aluko, Burgess, KVY, Kamara, Ahadmi. Have I missed any?
Of course, most of them are injured.
Yeah, they're injured, but I said, sorry, yeah, that's
fine. I know what you mean, mate.
When they're all fit, you got to think McKenna's going to have some serious headaches.
Yeah.
Obviously, then we'll use the strength of the squad when we're in the third, fourth round of the FA Cup. We're on our way to Wembley in the EFL Trophy. So this is when the squad will come in handy. 100%.
A fully fit KVY not making a matchday 18 was unthinkable 18 months ago, wasn't it? It just shows where. And to be fair, Paul Ward's comments again after the game, he spoke about how we're the blueprint and we've had 18 months to adjust to the league, and whereas Derby are relying on a really strong first 11, that's the difference, isn't it? That we have an unbelievable squad, really, and people saying we need to get out of this league. For me, anything other than top one, could be deemed as a failure now.
If you, I was going to finish on. If you ever want to see pyrotechnics and you're out my neck of the woods to the west towards Wales, go see a game at the Millennium. It's not the Principality; it'll always be the Millennium. Oh my God, the Welsh national anthem. They even bring out a sheep, like stereotypes and all that. But it's amazing. I haven't been there for a couple of years, obviously, but if you ever get the chance and you ever go out west, go see an autumn international, because it is, honestly, I'm not Welsh. I don't think I ever will be Welsh, unless Wales decides to split off. But it's amazing. Great day out. Come to Cardiff. It's a great city.
Good shout, my friend. Good shout. Okay then, boys. A lot of great coverage there on a Derby County win. Town win against Derby County, not Derby County winning. Just to clarify for everyone, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I want to just say one extra thing from Friday night. Big shout out to Francine from Rainbow Tractors, of course, who also does game day and has been on the social before. But she did a great job. She had a busy evening, doing a lot of interviews with Sky, with the club in the fan zone, doing some great stuff with Rainbow Tractors. Of course, it was the dedicated weekend, Rainbow Laces and everything. And she, it's great thing they're doing at the moment, and she's going to continue that great work throughout the season. And just wanted to give her a shout out. She was also at the women's game. The women's team won as well. Just there'll be a Tractor Girls Talk podcast coming out this week with myself, Blue Wilson, and a special guest. So look out for that. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out Francine. She did a great job. And yeah, big up Rainbow Tractors and everything like that.
Yeah, I second that. I second that. Like I say, obviously at the game, Francine was like, well, you could give a donation for you could get rainbow laces or the little Rainbow Tractors little pin badge. So I've already got my laces and my ashtray ready for Tuesday night. Yeah, no, she done really well. I know she was a little bit nervous about things, but absolute star. And everyone, if you can, support her for what she's doing, because she's doing a fantastic job.
Definitely.
Yeah, she's so modest as well. I don't think she quite realises the kind of the seismic effect she's having around Portman Road. Football is for everyone. It absolutely is. And we won Family Club of the Year last year. We want everyone to come to Portman Road and to feel comfortable and to feel like they belong, because we all love Ipswich. But yeah, I completely agree. Thank you for bringing that up, Ross. She's an absolute shining star of the Ipswich Town community, and deserves every bit of praise that comes her way. Definitely follow Rainbow Tracks on Twitter. Everyone should, because she's doing some fantastic work.
Definitely. I felt like I didn't want to ask her to do an interview after the Friday night game, because I know she's done 500 interviews by that point. So I went, I'll leave you to have a lay down. But yeah, Francine, we salute you. Okay then, boys. Let's go right into the strike before, of course, we get into the town debate / Port Vale preview. A chance for Bainesy, George, and Peachy go head to head. Who's going to wear the crown of the strike? Pete, play at home if you can. If you're driving, then make sure to look at the road. But play at home as well, and shout out your answers, and then see how many points you get. Okay, then we've got 4 questions plus tiebreaker as standard, and the first question is on Adam Tanner. He celebrates his birthday this month, and shout out to Adam. He was actually at the game on Friday, like a few players actually, because of course George Burley had his bar opened, and there was a lot of former players there who played under him and stuff like that, and played with him as well. Peachy, what are you doing? Stop tapping.
Sorry,
strike.
I'm getting all excited.
Oh, he is. He loves strike. Big good old Peach. But yeah, Adam Tanner. Sorry, we want to see the question, don't you? I'm just going on a tangent here. But he scored on his town debut against which team? Was it Coventry, Leicester, or Southampton? It was a game at Portman Road, 2nd of January 1995. If you wanted a date, the score was 4-2. So an absolute thriller. The start of the year in 1995. But Adam Tanner, of course, scored that legendary goal at Anfield as well. But yeah. Debut goal. That must be a dream of anybody's, really, isn't it? To make your debut completely, but also then to actually score your debut, that's just unbelievable. But then I think even if we made our debut and played 30 seconds, you'll sort of go, yep, I did it. But yes. Anyway, Bainesy, George, Peachy, what are you going for?
I'm just going to say Leicester as a complete guess.
I've gone Leicester too.
George?
I've gone Coventry.
What year was it, Ross? Because I vaguely remember him, but
yeah, 1995, January, start of the year, 1995, and it is Leicester, so it is 1-0. But George, don't worry, my friend. Question 2 is up next. And you've got a chance here to get a point back. Jermaine Wright also celebrates his birthday this month. Happy birthday, Jermaine. How many goals did he score for Town in 221 games? I really completely said the wrong game there. But there, 221 games. Jermaine Wright, of course, scored some absolute worldies in his time. Of course, that volley was it a Rotherham? Was it a Rotherham? And
Yes.
Watford as well. Got a good goal against Watford. How many goals? Got a grape in my tooth. Been eating grapes during this episode. Just peek behind the curtains, everyone. Been eating some grapes. I like grapes. One my new favourite fruits again. They have to be right. They have to be proper juicy. But yeah, enough of that. I don't know what I'm. That's what I've got to do. I've got to fill the blanks while you guys are thinking of the answer. So that's why I've got to say nonsense stuff while eating grapes.
I'm going to go, because the last time I was sharing the screen with Mr. Peach, I was facing off against him. So I'm going to go one up from my default strike invitational answer and go 34.
34, okay. Just shout out, lads.
Sorry.
I'll go 30.
Repeat that, George.
36.
36.
I can be totally out. I don't think he scored that many. I've gone for 7.
Oh, now
I don't
if you
think he
saw my
scored
reaction, to Bainesy, I was like, whoa, because it was whoa, because he only scored 11. Only 11 goals this time. But yeah, 11 goals. So Peachy has taken the lead. Question 3 is on Port Vale. How many times has Town won at Port Vale in 17 games? Now, I know Peachy normally does his research, and at little brief second there, it's like, oh, I may know this. But 17 games. No, but 17 games. Of course, if you get it bang on, boys. So, George, an opportunity here for you, mate. You get 2 points if you get it bang on. But then also, Peachy can get it bang on, and he's basically run away with the strike this week. But Bainesy can also get in to take the lead. But we'll see. It is 2-1-0 at the moment. When you got it, just shout out, boys.
I've gone 8.
8.
11. I've changed my answer 3 times.
I've got 12, but I did have 11 as well. But I'll say 12.
That's fine. No one's got a bang on, so no 2 points up for grabs. But Peachy has made it 3-1 because it's 6. Only 6 times.
Lucky guess.
Lucky guess, but those lucky guesses come in. So Peachy has pretty much won because the final question isn't a double points question. But we can still play, of course, for Bainesy to get. And for George just to get a point, my friend. Now, depends how much you know about middle names and about Ellis Harris's middle name. Ellis Harrison, sorry. Ellis Harrison? Who's that? But Ellis Harrison, of course, now plays at Port Vale. We didn't play on the weekend, but I was looking, just reading up. It was a minor injury, so he could play on Tuesday, but they're top goal scorer at the moment. But yeah, what is his middle name? Is it Wade, Wayne, or Warren? Just, you know me, on the strike, bring out the middle name question. Always a fun fact. Just, read it in your head. Ellis, blah, 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 Harrison. Wade, Harrison, Wayne Harrison, Warren Harrison. What works better? Pete says you're winning, and I've won. What is your question? Answer.
I've gone Wade.
Wade?
I've also gone Wade.
Angie?
Dwayne.
Ooh, it's Wade. Yeah. It's Wade. So Peachy has got all 4 questions right. But George, you got a point as well. So congratulations, my friend. But now, Peachy has won it overall, but it's a chance here to use a tiebreaker because I made the effort to do the research. So please use a tiebreaker. You will.
Of course. I'm a gambler. Of course I'm going to gamble.
Let's do it.
He who dares wins.
Yes. Of course, gamble responsibly, everybody. Always do that. Always do that. Now, final question is on a man that is celebrating his birthday this week, and it is good old Carlos Edwards. And it's about his goal as well. Once again, he scored some pretty good goals. But how many goals did he score for Town in 191 games? Now, George, Bainesy, you've got to get it bang on to win. But if you don't, then Peachy continues his winning run with the strike. But yeah, of course, that late winner against Derby was unbelievable. I remember being that away end. I was probably at the top of that away end, and I was at the bottom of it by the end because, yeah, just unbelievable. He did score another late winner, didn't he? I swear he scored another one somewhere. But yeah, scored a few good goals. Good old Carlos Edwards.
I saw him play. I saw him play on Saturday. Still playing.
Still playing.
Berry
Wow.
Town.
Bloody hell. Carlos. There's some players who they can go on forever, can't they? I know Berry Town, but it's still decent level. That's probably more tough because it's, you got blokes kicking you here, there, and everywhere. I'm sure he's still dynamite. Okay, well, we'll start with you, Peachy, just to shout out your answer.
I think I've done him to justice, but I'm going to go 7.
Okay, Bainesy, George.
I've got 21, which I think is way over.
Bainesy, sorry, I didn't hear yours.
12.
No one's got a bang on. So, Peachy, you do continue the crown of the strike. But, Bainesy, you were so close, my friend. It's 10. 10, so 2 away. But, yeah, there we go. Peachy, you've won, my friend, as always. Speech.
Well, again, I think with this one was 2 lucky guesses for the last 2 questions. So, Lady Luck was shining on me tonight. But, under pressure with 2 fierce competitors in George and Bainesy, happy to keep hold of the crown for another week or 2.
Yes, my friend. As always, hope everyone enjoyed another edition of The Strike. Let us know how you got on. Always good. Now, let's get cracking then with the next feature on the podcast. It's time for a town debate. Don't know where that came from, to be honest. Now, as you boys know, we've been getting a lot of the monkeys off our backs this season. Of course, winning on Sky, finally. Beating a big team in this division. Help me out here. I did make some notes, but I actually pressed the X on it. There's been loads of monkeys. Like beating Accrington, beating promotion teams. Because last year we didn't win against any of the promotion teams, but this year we've done that already, which has been fantastic. But the next question for you boys is, what is the next monkey to take off the back? Bainesy, what do you reckon then? What's yours monkey to take off our back to go through for the rest of the season?
I'll take you all the way back to 2019 when a certain he who shall not be named was flying, and then that ridiculous contract that he's still probably getting paid off for. He's getting paid for. But it's about now that the wheels usually start to come off towards the kind of the run up towards Christmas. So my thing for Mr. McKenna, and I have no doubt about this, I'm completely and utterly confident, and feel free to clip this up if it all goes to nothing, but be top or second by January 1st. That's the target. Keeping those positions, and then January to May, just keep thinking about making a nice gap between second and third, or first and third ideally. I think that's what we've got to show now. I think the season's fallen apart in previous years. Now is the time where Mr. McKenna really has to earn his money and make sure that we go into next year in as good a position as possible. But as I said, not any no doubt whatsoever.
Good point, my friend. Good point. And yeah, I'm the same really right now. Top 2, it's got to be in it. I know people love the idea of going to Wembley in the playoffs, but not for me. Don't fancy that. Top 2, second, win the league. And George, you mentioned it already. Minimum is top 1. But what is the monkey you want off the back?
Well, it's going to have to be answered tomorrow night when this podcast goes out. When we go to Port Vale, can we win a game of football with this team without Sam Morsey in it? And Lee Evans, I suppose, as well. I go back to the Colchester game when Mr. Morsey wasn't playing, and I stand by the fact that if he was playing that game, we would have won. One comment I do have about Sam Morsey, just quickly, and I'm interested to hear you guys' opinion on this. When we're losing a game, is Sam Morsey the one? As much as we talk about a certain Colchester United captain who was with us last season or the season before, one thing we can say, regardless of his ability, is he didn't shut up. Does Sam Morsey lead by example, or is it, when the chips are down, does he go a little bit quiet?
I think Morsey is a brilliant captain, but I think with this squad and this team, there's more than one leader. So they sort of all G themselves up. I must say, I've never really watched like Morsey when we're like, if you go like when we were down at Morecambe. Obviously, I saw him come back the centre half, back to the centre. So come on, lads, come on. But like, I never watch him. If that makes sense. Like, see if he's G'ing the team up. Something I will look out for.
There's lots of sort of, you know, tapping his head. You know, keep your head in it. There's lots of sort of just arm movements. There's no real screaming and shouting. And I just wonder. I look at the Plymouth game and we were really up against it. You know, was he imposing his personality on the game enough? In terms of his, you know, not his football ability, but his just general sort of captaincy, I guess. But just back to the point, you know, I say that I also think Sam Morsey is excellent and is a really, really great captain for us and someone who leads by example. I think he's 9 out of 10 almost every game he plays. And can we go to Port Vale on Tuesday night and win without him in the team? And it's going to be a huge learning curve for Cameron Humphreys if he does play. I have a hunch that he might not, and McKenna's going to sort of shuffle the pack to sort of maybe stick like, I don't know, Connor Chaplin in a sort of midfield role or something like that. It would be silly because Humphreys could probably do a job, but yeah, it's going to be a huge learning curve for this team without their 2 star midfielders. And can we get the monkey off our back of winning without either of them in the team? And I guess we'll find out, you know, this time Tuesday night.
Just on Friday, I thought Morsey was superb, and I agree with Peach. There's lots of great players there. I don't think you necessarily need to be screaming and shouting. I think if you're screaming and shouting all the time and things are going wrong, and sometimes maintaining your composure is almost more important like that. It's the same with McKenna on the touchline. You never see him go mental. You never see it. And I would much rather he was like that and he kept his cool. And it's the same with Morsey. I think he just keeps things ticking over. I think, you know, I mentioned it on Twitter. You know, we can criticise Paul Cook a lot, but he brought him here. He came here for him. So I think we'll always have to be thankful for that and a lot of other players. But I think this is a huge chance for Humphreys, and on ball as well, because you can't imagine he's going to drop Morsey at the weekend. So it's either going to be Ball or Humphreys. I can't see Kamara being ready quite yet. Obviously, you know, he's still coming back from a long-term injury. Maybe Tuesday night he'll come off the bench later on. But this is kind of Humphreys and Ball's audition to start on Saturday. It's as simple as that. You know, grab his shirt.
Yeah, good points. Nice little segue. Always nice segues. I like that. Peachy, it's a great point so far. George has made a great point about Morsey. You know, that's a great thing. You know, it's the first time we're not going to have him in the squad since that culture has the game. But what is your monkey to take off the back?
Looking a bit into the future. That was very dramatic. Very dramatic. Right. Oscar coming your way, definitely. For me, it's a cup run. Let's get past the third round of the FA Cup for me, because last year we got past Oldham, just Barrow. Let's not even go there. This year, I'd like to think we've got a very easy game against Bracknell, even though the whole of the nation is going to be wanting Bracknell to win, as you always want the underdog to win. And hopefully we get second round draw. And obviously, it's only going to be like League One teams or below. And then get that third round again. Have we made the third round since we're in League One? Don't we have we?
Nope.
And let's get a big boy away. You know, big team away. You know, we'll get a surprise win at White Hart Lane, maybe 1-0. You never know. But that's the one. Because even like in the League Cup this year, going out to Colchester, like it was disappointing at the time. But if you can have a cup run, it's got to be the FA Cup, because that's the best domestic competition in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, good shout, yeah. And of course, get the Wembley boys. We'll Papa John's trophy. Nice little party, eating pizza and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Although there's never pizza about when this competition comes about.
But
you know what?
Can't win that tournament. Sorry to interrupt you, Ross. There's no reason why we can't win that tournament. And if I was a bookmaker, I'd have us nailed on favourites to do it as well. With our squad size and our academy, there's no reason why we shouldn't be, you know, no reason why we shouldn't be at least at Wembley. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, boys. Okay, then let's segue into Port Vale. We've already spoken a lot about Morsey going to be missing because they got that 5th yellow card against Derby. Lee Evans, hopefully not too serious, but he will likely he's going to miss the game. But Bainesy, how are you feeling going into this one? Port Vale, a newly promoted side, they're 14th for League One. They beat Cambridge on the weekend thanks to an own goal. Paul Digby, former Town player, putting a ball into his own net. But yeah, trip on a Tuesday night to good old Stoke-on-Trent, Vale Park. How are you feeling?
Yeah, they've not done badly in October. I think in their last kind of 3 league fixtures, they picked up 7 points, and obviously the win midweek as well. I think it's going to be really tough, and I think a certain Mr. Harrison is going to be very, very up for this one and sticking one over us. But I don't expect anything other than a tough game. They're in form. I think first half, I don't think there'll be a goal. I think it'll be similar to the game on Friday night. I think it'll come probably 70th, 80th minute, hopefully, and then get a second. But I think it's going to be a very, very tight game, and I think it will go right down to the kind of the late knock-ins, if you like. But yeah, regardless of where they are on the table, you've always got to respect a side in form.
Sorry, I was on another screen. I was listening, Bainesy. I'm always listening. I was just on another screen, just getting other stats up because I want to get stats. Always good stats. But George, what do you reckon then? Port Vale, first trip there for a very long time. A game, last year we didn't win against the newly promoted side, but this year we're very much different. But yeah, how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I echo Bainesy's point. I think Ellis Harrison's going to have the bit between his teeth. To be honest, his career trajectory, has really shocked me the way he's sort of have gone off it. In our relegation season, I really did think he was one of our better players. So yeah, I'm a bit undecided about this one. I think we could have a situation where we're just trying to break the team down for so long, and we could end up in a real sort of battle. But not having Evans or Morsey might actually end up being our biggest strength, because we're going to have 2 midfielders that are absolutely desperate to make an impact and a statement on the game, and hopefully young Cameron can really impose his personality on the game, and I'm confident of a sneaky little 1-0 win.
Ooh, sneaky 1-0 win. Peachy, will you be happy with a 1-0 win, or do you want to see us score a few goals? We haven't really had an opportunity to do that away from home yet this season, and we really sort of make a statement win away from home that I know of. Have I completely got that wrong? Maybe we have.
Only Shrewsbury. You could say Shrewsbury winning 3-0, don't we? But
yeah,
I'll take a 1-0. All I want is 3 points at the end of the day. If we win 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. But I think it could be very similar to the Burton game, where they're just going to throw everything at us. And I spoke to a couple of gentlemen in my local pub who are Cambridge United season ticket holders, and they said Port Vale were very organised. So like most teams come against, they're going to be organised. But like I say, you got Ellis Harrison's going to have a point to prove. They've got James Wilson, ex-Man United striker. He was a youngster there, wasn't he? But I think our midfield is going to be a big thing. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if Kamara starts. I don't think he should, but with McKenna's team selections, he's not surprised to come in. But I think with Ball and Humphreys, they've been playing together in the trophy a lot, apart from the Cambridge game, and they both look solid and work well as a pair. I can see like Humphreys does all the legwork and Don Balls is in there breaking it up. But yeah, it's going to be like every game in this league is tough. I think any fan who comes, that's an easy 3 points. It's just arrogance. Just everyone's up for a battle. I think we will get the win, but it'll be a late goal. Like again, break them down 75th minute, 80th minute. Hopefully 1-0. But yeah, fingers crossed. Because then we've got Charlton on Saturday, and that's another big game, because they're getting into form now a little bit. They've won the last 3 games. They've the last 2, so games come thick and fast.
Yeah, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Saturday, all that sort of stuff. Bainesy, before I go any other business, what is Kieran McKenna going to do up front wise? Because we went for pace on Friday night. Tuesday night against Port Vale. Is he going to bring Lev Dapo come in to battle with the Port Vale? Do you reckon that's what he's going to do?
This is a game for Big Fred. It absolutely is, because I think these games, it'll probably be quite physical. His hold-up play is really good. As I said before, he hasn't perhaps got the goals he wanted, but he does offer the team a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him up front, but I would be very surprised to see Kamara. I think he's got a lot to offer in the latter stages of the season as well. But it's going to be a tough game. It absolutely is. This division is still tough on the best of its day. So fingers crossed we can sneak a win.
Okay, George, over to you. And now I'm putting something on you now, just out of the blue, because I just wanted to just chuck you something. Now, of course, Andy normally does the £1 million picks, but he's not around this week. So I am just going to bring out random money here, just pretend money. But what is one thing you think is going to happen in the game? I'm also going to get you, Peachy, to do it on you as well, Bainesy. I'm going to give you, I don't know, one grey peach to put down. George, what do you reckon? Anything can happen in the game, just anything. It could be you can be boring if you want and just do a goal scorer if you want. But go ahead. Nice little add-on here.
What odds would you give me on, at some point in the game, Christian Walton making an absolutely worldy save that's going to lead us on to getting a win? I'm talking like ball is zipped across the 6-yard line. Ellis Harrison's got his toe on it, and just cat-like reflexes, he's palmed it away, and we're thinking to ourselves, what a goalkeeper we've got, and then that gets us to win.
I'm terrible, really, with odds. Bainesy, Peachy, you can help me with this, and then George, you can do the same when I do Peachy and Bainesy. What do you reckon? Because Walton is known for that. He can make some unbelievable worldy saves.
Are we talking this worldy save? Is like you think that's it? Oh, he saved. It's one of them sort of things. Like, how's he saved that?
It's kind of I mean, I'm not sure whether I would get higher odds if I went on that, or just a worldy save in general. Yeah, no, do you know what? We'll go big or go home. Yeah, we'll say it's one of those ones where he might have just got in the way of it, but you're still thinking he had absolutely no right to save that.
Like the foot save at Burton Albion.
Exactly like that.
I did used to work for a bookmaker back in the day as well. So I don't know, Peach. What are who do you work for?
I work for a company, medical supplies. I work in a warehouse, so I've got no idea when it comes to odds. But I'd say 16 to 1.
Seems about fair. Yeah.
Yeah. You happy with that, George?
I'll put 4 pints of grapes on that, please.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds good. I don't know what that returns. I can't really do the maths right now, but I'll get back to you on that.
Love grapes. Great God.
Yes, indeed. I've only got one left, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave that for the outro to enjoy that. Peachy, what is your £1 million pick? Anything that could happen in a game?
Mine's sort of slightly boring, but hear me out. It's going to be a Janoi Danassian goal, not a whiff, a goal. But what is going to happen is he's going to put a cross in, and it's going to miss our play and deflect. You're going to get little deflections in it. Wrong foot's the keeper. So it's not a. You could call it an own goal, or you could call it a Danassian goal. One for the Genius goals. Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be like it's going to edge the box. He's going to fire it in the top corner. He's just going to put a cross in. It's going to hit like defender's back heel and sort of like just go in.
What do you reckon, then, George? Bainesy?
I would honestly I'll give 1,000 to 1 on Janoi Danassian scoring. I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I love him, but
yeah,
the annoying thing
seems about right.
Where you think you could actually have scored there. I can't remember what one it was. He just sort of took someone on, and I'm thinking, you know what? You're so selfless. You crossed it. It probably led to a goal, knowing him. But I'm thinking, just take the shot on yourself, mate.
Yeah.
Back yourself. No wonder you've scored 1 goal in your career, and you're nearly 30.
Yeah, mad.
So,
it is mad.
1,000 to 1, then, yeah.
Yeah,
1,000 to 1. Yeah.
I'll put 10 grapes on that, please.
I'll give you 1,000 grapes. I will sharp you 1,000 grapes.
Oh, it's been amazing a return now, boys. Oh, unbelievable return.
Love JD as well. No offense to him whatsoever.
No,
he
no.
is
He knows
been
it as
an
well.
absolute, gem to the
Yeah.
club. So
Yeah.
there's no hate on JD.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's that selfish. He doesn't shoot. That's why he's going to cross it and it's going to go in. He's just going to claim that. That's my goal. My goal.
Everyone's gonna, Even not even the goals, Pano people, they'll go, he's only scored one goal in his career. Yeah, I've got to give it to him. And if it's a massive deflection, now give it to him. Give it to him. Okay, then we'll see what happens there. Bainesy, then, my friend, what is your £1 million pick for the Port Vale game?
I'm gonna go very simple. Well, simple-ish. Edwards is going to start. And I think the first half there'll be no goals, and then I think he will be first goal scorer in the second half.
Okay, still some thinking behind that. George, Bank, Peachy, what do you reckon?
20-1.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
but he has to start. Yeah, he can't come on in the second half.
Would that be void? Would that be voided then?
Yeah.
Or because I don't know. Yeah.
Because that's technically a double. Because I guess as a bookmaker you wouldn't go that intricate, would you? That'd be a request a bet. So I guess if he didn't start and he didn't come on in the first half, and that's a void bet.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, how much can I stick on this?
You got the whole bowl of grapes in front of you, mate. How much you got there?
I'm just going to go 100. 100 bags on that. I think that'll be a nice little return.
Nice return. We'll let everyone know. We'll find out on Tuesday night. If your bets come in, we'll put that in the chat, and we'll find out if any of those come in. But it's been a great show as always. Bainesy, George, Peachy, thanks for joining me. Bainesy, any other business, my friend?
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while, but enjoyed it.
Top man. George?
Just a couple of things very quickly. First of all, just a quick point. Sorry.
That's fine. I'm joking.
I was on a bookmaker. I think it might have been on Friday. I can't say their name for legal reasons, I'm sure, but they were offering 80-1 for Janoy Donatian to be first goal scorer. Not only a goal scorer, the first goal scorer, 80-1, and that is just printing money. I don't know who has ever taken that bet, but they need to seek help. And just a bit more serious point. Would the guys agree with me that it's a bit of a weak division this year? There's a lot of big teams in it, but not. There's a lot of big teams in it, but are they good teams?
Yeah, I can agree with that because you look at last season. You had Sunderland, Rotherham, Wigan, as well. They were all very good sides.
As well as Wednesday picking up results here and there or whatever.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. It just seems the bigger team. Like there's no respect to Derby and Barnsley. They haven't started as well as you thought they might. And Peterborough, they're now come back into form, but they've not started the way they normally do in this league. So, I definitely see a point there. I'll
just do a quick hot take as well. I think Plymouth will finish 6th or below because I think Stephen Schumacher, is it Schumacher his last name?
Yeah.
He will be gone by Christmas, like the next PM, no doubt.
I
think he'll be gone because I think he's a very good manager, and no disrespect to Plymouth compared to us with a very good young manager, I'm not sure they quite have the pull to keep a manager like that, whereas we do. And I think losing him would be catastrophic to them because I hate to say that they're a flash in the pan because I do think they are a very good team, but I don't think they can sustain it. But I hope I'm wrong because I like Plymouth as a place and as a team, and I hope they go up.
Good hot take. Always good hot takes to bring to the party. I like that. Peachy, then, my friend, to end the podcast. Any other business?
None at all, sir. None at all.
All right. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Well, it's been a great show. I hope everyone's enjoyed listening. On your way to Port Vale, if you are, safe journey. Of course, we've got a shout out our sponsors at Manscaped. Use the code KOA to get 20% off and free delivery with the code KOA at manscaped.com. Of course, leave us a review if you haven't already. We've had some great reviews recently. So thank you very much for that. Of course, leave us a follow on Kings of Anglia on all the socials. Of course, follow Bainesy and good old George and Peachy on their platforms as well. And we'll be back with much other content. Of course, the main flagship show will be back this week as well with the boys and also Track the Girls Talk. So stay tuned for all the content that we're bringing you. And I'm going to go now because I'm going to have my final grape to enjoy. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye for now.